I'm sitting here with Ava DuVernay, whose film Middle of Nowhere is in competition here at Sundance this year. Happy to have you sit down with us for Sundance Project 2012.
Thank you. It's warm in here. That's nice.
Welcome. Why don't you give us a little sense of what your movie's about?
Yeah, Middle of Nowhere is a story of a woman named Ruby who's lost her husband to incarceration. And so it's all about her journey to maintain her marriage from beyond bars. We never go further into the prison than Ruby goes. So we're always in the visiting room with her. But mostly we're out in the world as this woman tries to kind of navigate being the wife of an incarcerated man and still kind of keep hold of this relationship. And so it touches on kind of the prison wives' tale, but really the story of a woman who's living within a relationship that's imbalanced, which is something that a lot of women and a lot of people know a lot about. You know, when you kind of look up inside of a relationship and trying to figure out how did I get here. Right. This is not how it was supposed to be. So that's some of the things we explore.
That's great. That's something that I think everyone can relate to, maybe not always in that sort of heightened reality. So you wrote the script as well. I did. And so was this a story that was connected to you in some way? Like, what was the thing that sort of had you go down that path originally?
Yeah. Well, I grew up in Compton, California, Compton-Linwood area, and so you know the kind of the reality of women living within the situation is really prevalent, and really kind of transparent. People talk about it. You know, we're going this weekend, or I'm going to make a visit. You know, my brother's locked up. It's I mean, it's not a casual thing, but it's definitely not something that's as hidden as I think it is in other parts of society, where it also still happens. But as I went to UCLA and I started to get into the professional world, I was a film publicist. It's just not talked about as much on the surface until you really get to know people, and then you'd be surprised at how many people are affected by incarceration. So, so yeah, it was just something, you know, the story of a woman that I'd never seen portrayed cinematically. You know, I think there's a different posture to a woman who's kind of carrying that load. And just really wanted to kind of, you know, put it on screen in a way that was truthful.
That's great. How long ago did you write the script, and how long did it take to pull together?
Well, I'm a publicist by trade, a film publicist by trade. So my agency, I launched in 1999 and started picking away at the script in 2003. So I'd be off publicizing Dreamgirls or Invictus or whatever I was doing with the agency, and at night coming home and tinkering on the script. So I don't think there's any romance in saying that it took 7 years to make a film. No. Like, that's not sexy.
The opposite.
But this one did. It took a long time to just make it and actually get to a point where, you know, I was actually ready to shoot it. Yeah.
And this is your second narrative feature?
Yeah, it's my second narrative feature. You know, working as a publicist, was tinkering on shorts, not telling my clients, not telling press, not telling anyone I was doing it. Started making documentaries, kind of like underground docs in the hip-hop space, being commissioned by some of the networks, music networks, to make docs. And then eventually I made my first feature with about 50 grand 2 years ago. So it was released theatrically this past March. It's called I Will Follow. Right. And so yeah, it's funny because Middle of Nowhere is my first film that I made out in the open, like not like sneaking to make this film, not telling my clients I'm on vacation and making a film. I really, you know, I'm a full-time filmmaker now. It feels really good.
And once I Will Follow came out, you were able to
come
out,
I mean,
so to speak?
when I see the Ebert review and, you know, they're seeing me on CNN, like they're like, is this our publicist on TV publicizing her own thing? So yeah, no, it's out in the open now, and it's nice. It's been a lot of goodwill from the industry. That's great. Just in a lot of, you know, in unexpected places, you know, competitors or studio clients, or really journalists too. You know, I think the relationship between publicists and journalists is a lot closer than people think. It's not as tenuous. It's not as aggressive. I mean, it gets there.
Can be.
But underneath, you know, there are people there who have professional respect for each other. So it's been really wonderful that support, you know, from press as well. It's nice.
That's great. Yeah. So in addition to just the relationships that you built over time, do you feel like the lessons learned as a publicist sort of helped you as a filmmaker? The idea of sort of
absolutely. I mean,
messaging.
Really, well, messaging, but more so with talent. You know what I mean? More so with, you know, I talk to a lot of first-time directors or just directors, period, who might have a hard time communicating with their cast. And because I'm, you know, a publicist background, I'm always dealing with talent and having to speak with them very transparently about what we're doing and what needs to be done. I wasn't a personal publicist, I was a film publicist, so I was orchestrating campaigns around the film overall from start to finish. And so, so yeah, I just feel really comfortable around talent.
That's great.
And you know, as a publicist, they're talent. As a filmmaker, they're my cast, they're my artists, they're my collaborators. Right. And so that shorthand has really been nice, and it wasn't anything I had to learn or stumble over.
That's fantastic.
Nice, yeah.
So how long ago did you finish Middle of Nowhere? Was it this rush to make Sundance, or was it sort of, you know, less aggressive than that.
Yeah, no, we were shooting in June.
Wow.
Yeah, and
fantastic.
it was finished and we submitted it, and it was a total knockdown, drag-out shock.
I bet.
That it was accepted and in dramatic competition. Never, it was the longest long shot ever. You know, because I market and publicize, and up until this point have distributed my own films and the films of other folks through my distribution company, Affirm. So really, I live in a very independent space where you know, I don't really go out seeking distribution because we kind of are self-contained and are doing it at, you know, the level that we want to, you know.
That's great.
And so I feel very empowered in that way. So Sundance was really just like, this would be a nice cherry on top.
Yeah.
Let's do it and let's submit and forget. And that's basically what happened. And so, I mean, what a thrill, that call.
I bet.
Yeah.
You know, I was doing a little research before we sat down, and speaking of online and the you know, marketing films, I mean, you have got your online marketing dialed in. It's awesome.
Okay.
It looks fantastic. You search for middle of nowhere, all that stuff pops up right to the top.
Yeah.
It's been it's really impressive.
You got to. I mean, you know, I mean, there's no excuse anymore. You don't have to hire a fancy publicist. You don't have to, you know, speak through anyone else. I mean, you don't even have to distribute through anyone else these days. I mean, you can actually have a very robust life for yourself, you know, just putting in the elbow grease. Is
that what you're doing with this film, or are you looking for distribution as well?
You know, I'm here, and I always said if I find someone who can do it better than I can, you know, I would go with that company, or if there was a like-minded company that we could hold hands with to do something together, that would be nice. I mean, my company, Affirm, it's the African American Film Festival Releasing Movement, which is basically a collaboration of film festivals that I went out to, Black film festivals. So there's a whole very exciting Black film festival circuit that's been around for 20 years that really doesn't make mainstream press.
Right.
And there's one in every city that has amazing lists and of patrons and infrastructure and curation, and there are these great organizations that are just not funded and don't get the kind of attention. And so I said, well, what if we all got together and created a collaborative unit where we were releasing films together on the same day in all of these cities in theatrical spaces?
Oh, that's fantastic.
For full runs. And so I went and made a deal with AMC Independent, and I work with Limley and a lot of independent repertory cinemas, and I book it, and I do all the national publicity and the local publicity and outreach is done by these festivals that basically serve as field agencies.
Outstanding.
And so we launched at Sundance last year. We've distributed 2 films since. We're about to announce our 3rd in a couple of weeks, another Sundance selection from last year. And, you know, we're just doing it. It's no magic to it. It's just hard work. You know, if you're passionate about the films, as I am about Black cinema, and the lack of, you know, contemporary kind of complex images of us, then you got to get out and do it yourself. I'm not really waiting for anyone to do it for us.
Was that at the forefront of your mind when you were putting this together, that specific thing about Black images, and I imagine Black women in particular?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, my interests in cinema are just to kind of further and foster the Black cinematic image. I think it's really kind of poorly lacking in complexity. What the studios offer are, you know, just very kind of broad portraits or historical portraits, which are nice. I just want some variety, you know. I mean, I said on a panel that I was just really interested in seeing like modern day images of Black people that aren't comedic. And usually what you see from the studios are historical perspectives. You know, Red Tail's wonderful, Great Debater's wonderful. But, you know, I can go down the list of films, and the majority of the films that are released by studios that have Black characters at the forefront are in a historical context or comedies. And, you know, there's more to our lives than that. And so it's nothing more. It's not accusatory to say, you know, we want more, and instead of complaining, I'm just going to make it.
Just do it.
Yeah, why not?
How's your response been here at Sundance? I've been seeing your name and the name of the film all over the place, people talking about it.
Yeah, you know what, we came in as a discovery, you know, I mean, we have the kind of, the skill set to have made it tried to kind of go wide and loud with it, and I just always loved the films at Sundance. This is my 9th Sundance.
Wow.
The first 8 were as a publicist for films. So the first time being here for a filmmaker, I always said, you know, my favorite films are the ones when I walk in, I don't know nothing about that film. You walk in, you walk out like, wow, I discovered something. You want to tell people.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted our film to be. You know, we don't have a lot of huge actors in it, but, you know, it was the film I wanted to make, and I wanted people to discover it. So we debuted on Friday. And we screened Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, again on Friday, and it's been nice to hear people kind of talking about it and passing it along. So that was the goal.
Excellent. Yeah. Do you have something lined up next? Something you've written again, or something you'll direct?
Yeah, I'm shooting again in the summer.
In the summer?
Yeah.
Outstanding.
You know, you just got to keep going,
Absolutely.
brother. You got to keep doing it.
Exactly.